Hi lovelies and welcome to the Witch's Cookery. Today's witch vlog is all about how to practice witchcraft on a budget, finding low-cost witchcraft supplies while being super eco-friendly and a green witch in the truest sense of the word. So what enchanted endeavors are we up to today? First we will head out to gather some free witchcraft supplies out in the wild to craft some beautiful divination devices and elemental pendulum boards. Then I'm gonna take you along on a witchy thrift haul on a budget, and last but not least, we'll do a little home protection spell. The sun is just rising on this beautiful misty fall morning, so let's go out and see what we find. Yep. My personal favorite space to get no-cost witchcraft supplies is the forest. You can find so many useful things here. Now let me preference this though with you don't need tools to practice witchcraft. You don't need supplies, you don't need knickknacks. This is all just embellishment, and yeah, it's nice to have, it's fun to have, but it's not a necessity. Especially if you're following a pagan path, you might know that our ancestors didn't have candles, they didn't have crystals that were shipped all over the world. Witchcraft at the moment is somewhat of a trend, so obviously, as every other trend, it becomes commercialized. Anyway, finding witchcraft supplies out in nature. Great bonding moment, feeling out the seasonal energies, discovering new places around your house. Everything is free. You can let nature inspire you in your craft. And obviously, this is the greenest version of witching out there. On this channel, we have crafted many natural witchcraft tools together. Wands, besoms, fairy flutes, rune stones, OM runes, chimes for sound cleansing. So I did find a couple of natural treasures as pine cones, stones, wood, the animal with a house, snails. We are going to make a couple of pendulums, and then I'm going to show you how to use them with a natural pendulum board setup. But before we go home, I have a little surprise for you. This video is actually a collaboration with the lovely Veda Corvus. She has this dark academia, moody fall witch vibe going in every of her videos that is just so perfect to get you in the right mood for Samhain or for Halloween. It's not solely a witchy channel, it's more of a lifestyle channel, so she does book hauls, thrift hauls, aesthetic dark academia, room tours, self-care, rainy day witchiness. Honestly, I know that you will love it. Incidentally, she's also the most beautiful being to ever walk this earth. So I recommend after this video, you go over to her channel and you check out her video on sustainable, low-cost witchcraft supplies and her witchy thrift haul. Now, my dear witches and wizards, put away your magic wands and get out your arts and craft kits. For now, we're doing some magic. In order to make pendulums, we first need cone-shaped materials. For example, shells, pine cones, and you could also fashion wood or stone into your desired shape. When picking materials, also remember that they come with magical properties that you can use. So before you start crafting, you can think of the purpose you want to use the pendulum for and then pick the material accordingly. Now, we want to attach a string in order to hold and use the pendulum, so we need to make sure that we can actually attach it, as unfortunately most natural materials don't come with a handy drilled hole. You could always just hot glue it, but I decided to torture myself with some tedious crafting. Not a great activity when you have zero chill to begin with, while wearing much too long press-on nails. I am sadistic like that. My hands got just very camera shy as they looked super crusty in a close-up. So in order to attach the string to the shell, I used copper wire, which separates for its energy transmitting qualities. We are speaking about electrical energy here, but of course you can use this fact in analytical psychological magic to transmit your energy, if that makes sense to you. Now, personally, I'm a sucker for anesthetics. I'm really not. Now, personally, I'm a sucker for aesthetics, so I shushed up my new pendulums with some dried flowers. For an earthier variation, I chose to make a pendulum out of a pine cone, and you want to make sure to attach the string balanced out in the middle so your pendulum doesn't hang lopsided. Serious question to all the stylish ladies watching that wear these cat claws on a daily. How do you function? I swear I look like I had a fantastically kinky time with Wolverine. Meanwhile, I was just trying to wipe. I found some leftover pearls in my craft supplies and decided to give this pendulum a little glitz too. Last but not least, I wanted to make a wood pendulum from hazelwood. Hazel in folk belief here is a very powerful wood. It is brought into the house to protect from lightning and used as a wishing rod to detect water. It is another material people prescribe energy conducting powers to. And while I'm personally more skeptical towards these claims, I still like the sentiment. Plus, hazelwood is not very hard, so you can make a fairly decent shape even with an old rusty knife. I burned some ornamental question marks into the wood pendulum for a pretty, and also because it was quite fitting. So how can you use a pendulum? Personally, I love to use it for decision making, to really enter my subconscious. When you hold the pendulum between your fingers, your body will give up those tiny little movements depending on the outcome your subconscious actually wants to achieve. You won't even notice that you're moving the string, but you're actually moving the string. Your brain is moving the string. So it's a great tool in the situations where your heart and your head are battling it out and you really need to act one way or the other. You can use it there. You can also use it as a tool to let your thoughts drift. I, for example, love to set up an elemental pendulum board. Every element is also associated with different kind of properties: earth for grounding, air for emotion, and sometimes when I want a little guidance on from which emotion to act in a certain situation, I will use that pendulum board too. If you by any chance also went out to make a couple of rune stones, you can also lay a rune spread and then use the pendulum in order to help you with your reading. It's a super handy device with many purposes. Also very handy when you're online shopping and you just can't decide between two outfits. Hope you enjoyed. If you're not the most crafty witch of them all and you don't mind spending a little bit of money, you can still find very low-cost witchcraft tools and witchcraft supplies. But of course, if you're someone that works with nature, with natural energies, you probably also have it dear to your heart to protect Mother Nature. And therefore, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of dollar stores. I know they save you a buck, but how things are produced and how they're shipped, it's all very cruel basically to nature. So we don't want to do that, but we have many other options: thrift stores, flea markets, online platforms in the cities, especially when you go to the areas that have more of those like high-rise buildings or apartment complexes. A lot of times you can also just find different spots outside where people just leave the old crap, and sometimes you can find real treasures here. So I'm going to do a witchy thrift haul today, and I've set myself a budget of €20. What do you want to find? Let me see. Obviously I'm a kitchen witch, so I really want to have an antique scale because first of all, aesthetics, and then also I want something that I can measure my herbs with and it just feels a little bit more magical. I'm also in the market for a couple of cute flower pots for my herb for the winter month to grow inside, and maybe an old watering can with that, a smallish cute mirror for some self-love spells. I use it for shadow work, I use it for glamour magic, some teacup for teacup divination, some good vases because I just love to bring flowers into the house, possibly an offering bowl for my altar space, candle holders because one can never light too many candles, lanterns because I like to enchant them with some cottage witch spells and then place them strategically around the house to evoke some certain energies. A couple of herbs and spice bottles for my green witch apothecary. Technically you could probably also use like old pickle glasses and stuff like that, but I wanted to have something prettier. And yeah, for the rest we will see what I will find, or if I still have money left after this. Let's go! is it that every time you set out to buy some specific items, you end up with an entire store, minus the things you actually need? I bought way too many things. The great thing about thrifting is that it's very kind to the environment. Nothing new has to be produced. And personally, I feel those items also come with a story, with a soul. They have been pre-loved. For me, that's a plus. Some people have issues with it or fear that there's a certain energy attached to that object, but of course you can always cleanse the items, smoke cleanse them, put them in salt, wash them with cleansing solutions, or if you're a very practical witch like me, you just pop them in the dishwasher and hope for the best, giving those negative energies that Finnish Powerball treatment. Anyway, a lot of things that you can find are actually high quality or even handmade. Shall I show you what I bought? Please don't judge me, because my secret addiction next to dry white wine and the Housewives of Beverly Hills is tiny bowls, tiny plates, tiny kitchen equipment in general. I could probably open a museum by now. Might make for a cool kitchen witch tour video though one day. So it's all worth it. Score number 1. Can you see that? At least 50 different color candles for candle spells, cottage witchery, coziness, a beautiful floral metal bowl to burn incense on, or you could also put some sand in it, put some coal in it and burn sage bundles or whatever else. A beautiful handmade, what is that called? Flask. Bottle which is traditionally used for the type of liquors that your grandpa would drink to help the stomach after eating. It did come on a handy tray with a couple of little shot glasses, and I want to use this for my green witchcraft whenever I now have like a healing potion, tincture, fire cider, elder syrup that I ritually crafted. I will fill it in there and then serve my family. This is just a little sample of my deep-rooted addiction. But isn't it super cute? A lovely little moon flask, and when I saw this I thought I need to have this for my self-care moon bath mixtures for that feminine time of month. One item that was actually on my list, a candle holder, super pretty. A belt, I got it for free because the lady said it goes very well with my jumper, so that was nice. The clay pot that I found for free in some kind of dump. Perfect to use as a cauldron, fire safe. A sunflower themed offering bowl. Usually I leave my offerings outside in the form of little nuts or berries or what's it called? Fruit for the birds, for the animals. So that is festive and cute. ¿Qué más tenemos? I mean, this is a treasure for any cottage witch. Stress relieving, very calming crystal, and then you have the butterfly, a symbol of transformation. Possibly I will give my working corner a little magical makeover and call in those energies as well. Now I'm the first to admit that these look pretty ducking ugly, but I thought if I remove that bowl embellishment, decorative, whatever that is, would engrave it with some sigils and place it on my kitchen witch altar. A little floral design beaker that I will either use as a vase or to make potions in for kitchen witchery, for green witchcraft. For teacup divination I wanted to have a more broad-bodied one, but this plant is actually very symbolic to me, and in folk belief it's connected to fertility. So this will be my ritual cup for my fertility and health teas in the morning. Oh, almost forgot. This super cute vase. I already filled it with a couple of flowers and grass that I just picked outside on our evening walk. And as I didn't spend my budget, I still had some coins left to buy my little one a shoebox that he was very happy with.
Oh, mommy.
Yeah. And now I shall show you what you can witch up with thrifted items. Being a cottage witch with heart and soul, my spells don't only serve a purpose, I usually also make sure they look the part. So I start this protection spell with preparing a vase of seasonal flowers. In folk witchcraft, chrysanthemums are linked to home protection, and the cheery colors bring a happy energy into the home. Next, I'm preparing the fire dish to burn some cleansing and protecting herbs. And I will light a black candle. A black candle commonly is used for protection protection of negative influences, warding of evil, warding of sickness. And while I do so, I really visualize the harm I would like to keep out of my house, of my home, what I want to protect my family and me from. Then I'm burning a mixture of mugwort and rosemary. Rosemary in folk belief is known as a very protective herb, especially for hearth and home, and mugwort is there to ward off illness. While doing so, I also reflect on negative energies in our house, meaning discord, fights, things that will have to be discussed and talked through in order to protect that harmony in the house. Once the energy is cleansed, I will then proceed to burn some herbs to bring in positive energies, for example, lemon balm or frankincense. The next cheap witchcraft supply I'm using here is salt. In many cultures and from ancient on, salt is very connected to protective magic as well as bringing prosperity into our house. For those loving and protecting energies, I'm using pink Himalayan salt and I will spread it out in a sigil for home protection. Now there are different ways to draw a sigil. I don't necessarily go by the letter method. I let my sigils be inspired by symbols that I find fitting to the purpose. Such an easy and effective way to work some magic into your everyday. I infuse that salt sigil with all my wishes for protection, for prosperity to draw in, and then when it's fueled with those energies, I will place it in the middle of our table and put the bouquet of flowers on top of it where it will remain. The candle is more a symbol for protection from outside influences, and as it's tradition here, I will place it into the window. What we have here in Bavaria are, for example, the Wetterkerzen or weather candles that would be lit in order to protect the house from lightning. Another tradition here during different times of the year is to set the candles in the window, is to ward off the wild hunt or evil spirits. If you have more tips on practicing witchcraft for free, please let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out Veda's video. I'm going to see you very soon and wish you a wonderful night. Goodbye!